All right, welcome everybody. I want to thank the CEO of the Lakers, Jeanie Buss, very much for joining us. And Jeanie, here we are. Here we are at the brand new UCLA Health Training Center. How did we get here? How did we get to this building?
About 3 years ago, we talked about, what kind of investment we could make into the team to really, with the collective bargaining agreement the way it is, the playing field has become more even with teams in the league. And so you're always looking at ways that you can improve your team, that are outside of just trying to sign the most players. And so there really is this movement about not only developing your own players, but also keeping your players in tip-top shape, also helping them recover from injury faster, and hopefully even prevent injuries from ever happening. So we just started looking around at what was out there and what other teams do, not only in the NBA, but we looked at college programs, we looked at other professional sports, and it just started to crystallize more and more that this was something that we needed to do, because the Toyota Health Center was our home for 17, 18 years and served us very well. We won championships, but our headquarters had kind of been fragmented because as we grew in size in terms of employees, half of our people were on the other side of the parking lot in another building. And I remember when Dwight Howard was here, he came to my office one day and he said, excuse me, but where are all the people? Like the people that do all the, ticket sales and sponsor sales. And I saw that when you have players, they want to know who they're working with and who the team is, who's got their back. So just all these pieces of information, we started on this process, and it was a long process. We interviewed different architects, different construction companies to really find people who had the same vision that we did as to what the Lakers would build for a training center. And we hired Rossetti architects out of Detroit. Mainly for me, what I liked about their pitch was they talked about how architecture can contribute to culture, and that when you talk about the design of this facility, there's a flow, there's a rhythm to how you get from one side to another, and it is there to inspire collaboration and teamwork and kind of change the culture that we were kind of operating in different facilities, and people didn't even know where the Lakers training center was because we had no flagpole to say this is our home. We were kind of hidden. We were in the back of the LA Kings practice facility. So this really is about having a place where we can interact with the community. People know where we are. This is our home. This is our headquarters. And it finally brings the whole organization under one roof. Another thing that I think is important to note is that we allowed natural light to come into the court. The players travel so much during the season, and it's important that when they get back to LA, that they get a good sleep rhythm, and being exposed to natural light helps their bodies kind of acclimate back into LA time zone. So you'll notice as much natural light as we could get in here without distracting from the basketball is what we decided to do.
And here we are sitting in your office, and Jeanie, the thing that makes it your office and makes it feel like home here is of course Larry O'Brien and his friends. So that's the finishing touch, because when we had a tour here a couple weeks ago before everything was finished, and I said, there's something missing. Okay, there you go.
And if when you did the tour, you saw that everything, the basketball court is the center of the building, right, because I mean, we don't have it now, but when the team is practicing, you're going to hear the bouncing basketballs, and that's the heartbeat of the building. That's why it's the center of everything, just to remind everybody, what gives us the energy, it's the purpose, and of course, the reward for the hard work is, hopefully winning a championship.
And it's something, of course, that you learned so well from your father, and that is the most important thing. All of this stuff is around building the team, but you have to have the success on the court. And the Laker fans around this community and really all over the world, the thing that maybe has in common is the Lakers have been winning for forever, and that's how you get grandfathers and grandsons with the bond, right? That's kind of that connective tissue, isn't it, in some ways?
Absolutely, it's. We haven't had that winning tradition the last few years, but certainly that is what the ultimate goal is, and that's what makes the brand strong and ties the different generations together, from Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal to, the team that we have now with so many young players, the end of Kobe's reign as the star player, and I think that this reset is nice for this young core group of players because they have an opportunity to create their own way of Lakers basketball. That they, in this locker room, nobody's going to get Kobe's old locker. That they're going to be able to write the next chapter in Laker history, because it's for them that we do all this. It's for them to, come and be part of an organization and be the best that they can be, and maybe even exceed their own expectations of what their career could be. Certainly when you have a facility like this, a strategic partner like UCLA Health is something that we didn't have access to before. So having them as a partner, we have the resources of great medical minds, cutting edge research into what makes a player career go longer, how to get in the best health and wellness. So it's just all these opportunities that come together when you do something like this, and I couldn't be more pleased with how it's turned out.
Yeah, Jeanie, focusing on the building, and you mentioned since there's a salary cap, you have to find some other ways to attract players. And while the team has struggled so much the last couple of years, part of what that's done is restocked the young talent. And you can see whether it's Alonzo Ball or a Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance Jr. and Julius Randle and Clarkson and Zubats, on and on down the line. Does that all come together for Magic and Rob to be able to pitch to free agents, who I know you can't name,
right.
But is that part of it? Does the building now become a part of that whole selling point?
Yes, it's part of the vision. Now with Magic Johnson in charge and head of basketball operations, we're supplying the tools, the platform, everything that they need to make the team the best that they can be. Coach Luke Walton, who I think is going to be a coach for a long time in this league, and it allows him to have what he needs to produce. And again, it's all about, we can build a beautiful facility and everything looks great and trophies and banners, but at the end of the day, we're going to be judged by how the team does on the court and the success that they have. And I feel that in my position, my job is to give them everything that they need so that they can be the best that they can be.
And I know, Jeanie, this is something that people can follow on either the Lakers website and connect to UCLA Health Training Center. There are a lot of bells and whistles, and we've gone over that before. Mm-hmm. What I want to just ask you about, though, is that you always seem to focus on the fans and what the fans are looking for and thinking about. That's been part of, I know, your thinking for many years. Mm-hmm. How does that translate to all of this?
This facility will actually be able to interact with the community, that fans will be able to come here and watch the South Bay Lakers play. That's our team in the G League, so that they'll actually get a feel for what the Lakers brand is outside of Staples Center, that we'll be able to, put on a show. People will be able to see, hopefully, the next generation of talent, see, Kobe Carl, who I think does a terrific job as the coach of the South Bay Lakers. And, hopefully some other events. We don't even know what we can do here yet. Big announcement was that Los Angeles is going to host the Olympics in 2028, and this may be the training center for Team USA for when they're preparing for the Olympics. So things that you didn't even know sure. Back when you planned it, the kind of things that will happen. So we finally have a place where we can meet and greet with the fans.
Lonzo would be what, like 29 or 30 or something at that point?
Kind of perfect, huh?
Something to think about. Okay, so last thing, you mentioned the South Bay Lakers, and your brother Joey has, of course, done a great job with them, including they built the team that just won the Summer League, he and his GM, Nick Mazzella. What does that element add to this, and how does that work with the integration with the Lakers as part of what you said, this whole collective?
The Lakers were actually the very first team in the NBA to own their own development team. 10 years ago, they actually had to change the rules in the NBA in order for us to own and operate our own team. And that was the vision of Dr. Buss, was that, as things moved along, you were going to have to develop your own talent. So shortly after we got a team, then other teams like Miami and San Antonio came into the league. But now, 10 years later, everybody's seen the value of the G League and how important it is. And I think Joey's done a great job to keep the focus on, all the things that can happen when you do invest in player time, talent, scouting. All the pieces come together, and if you can get that one player that can make a difference on your on the Lakers, then it's all paid for itself.
Well, Jeanie, thanks so much for the time. Thanks for letting us hang out in your office here at the UCLA Health Training Center, and I'm sure we'll talk to you guys all soon.